Well, hello everyone. My name is Zachary O'Shea, and this is Box of Teeth. It's also Just Another Mimic Monday, so I have a homebrew Mimic for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for all of you right now. Every Just Another Mimic Monday, I reach deep into that box of teeth and produce a homebrew Mimic for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for all of you. They're sometimes a little bit silly, often horrific, and this one can really throw your players for a loop, and that is the Saddle Mimic. Finding a group of horses that are tied to trees in the forest isn't a common occurrence, but they weren't skittish as your party approached. Not too far off was a campsite that had been plainly attacked by some beast, and there didn't appear to be any survivors. The horses, however, were thankfully spared. Having a steed underneath you would be certainly better for this travel than having to walk the entire way, so your party decided to make use of them. You grabbed the nearest saddle of the horse that was calm and collected and swung yourself up into it, only to find your hands, your legs, and your rump are now stuck to the leather. And then eyes came out of the rivets, and teeth sprung from the threading, and you found yourself actually sitting on top of an open mouth. The horse calmly trotted away, and hopefully your party can catch up soon, or this is going to get really messy. Roll for initiative. Developed by a bandit riding gang, these mimics were bred to both help with a rider staying in the saddle and to keep a horse calm in the heat of battle. A mimic's adhesive ability really helps with the first, and their strange nature calmed the beasts, and that helped with the second. As with all mimics, they are fairly malleable, and thus they develop some abilities that are not really intended. The first of these, where they are able to transfer the feeling of having a burr or the like caught onto them to other creatures. This proved very useful for bandits. What wasn't so useful, though, is the mimics first developed empathy for the horses, then a way to communicate with them, and then a way to command them. When it came down to deciding whether the bandits or the horses were going to be their next meal, the mimics sided with the horses. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the Saddle Mimic statistics for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. A Saddle Mimic is a challenge rating 2 medium monstrosity that is neutral. They're slightly weaker than a normal Mimic, but they are more intelligent and have a higher wisdom, as well as the animal handling skill. They do have Shape Changer, Adhesive, False Appearance, and Grappler, though they can only change into a saddle. They do have limited telepathy that is further limited, so it can only be used on beasts and monstrosities. Action-wise, they do have a Pseudopod and a Bite Attack, both which do a tiny bit less damage because they are weaker than a normal Mimic, but they do also have Burr in the saddle, so they can target a creature that they can see. That creature has to make a Constitution save, or basically they're affected by the Bane spell, more or less, for the next minute. Lastly, they do have a bonus action of Bridle. They can target a beast or monstrosity with an intelligence 4 or less that's within 5 feet that they can also see. That creature has to succeed on a Charisma save or becomes charmed by the Mimic and immune to the Frightened condition for the next hour. Whenever the creature takes damage, however, they can repeat this save. The Saddle Mimic is a simple creature that you include in any encounter with horses or the like to make it a lot more interesting, and I'd love to hear how you use it down in the comments below. Of course, you can find it, hundreds more mimics, and hundreds on top of that horror-themed monsters, all for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, that are all perfectly free at boxofteeth.blogspot.com. If you're interested in the non-Dungeons & Dragons role-playing projects that I have, or the horror fiction that I write, including Grease Paint right there, which is book 1 of the Crimson Thread series, and Psychopomps right here, which is book 2, which comes out at the end of this month on August 30th, you can always go to www.zacharyoshea.com. As always, I appreciate your time and your attention, and I hope you have a great week ahead of you.